Welcome to the Next News Network. Between the headlines, you are watching us live right now. We're broadcasting on all platforms. We're broadcasting on Next News on X, as well as Trump Daily Posts on X, YouTube, as well as Rumble. And also, now we've introduced Kick to the live stream, so you can catch us on all platforms. We've got a lot of news we're going to be getting to. But first, let's start with the White House rundown. Good evening. I'm Gary Franchi, Next News Network Chief White House Correspondent, bringing you the latest White House news from the past 24 hours in partnership with our streaming ally, Trump Daily Posts. Tonight, the focus is unmistakable. President Trump used the Oval Office to press forward on border security, customs enforcement, federal accountability, and law and order, while also signaling continued movement in Iran talks. The biggest action came this afternoon with two executive orders and a renewed public safety push that the administration is presenting as more America First follow-through. From the Pool Report, Assistant to the President Will Scharf, he presented two executive orders to President Trump in the Oval. One order strengthens customs enforcement by tightening cargo reporting and targeted contraband, illegal goods, and duty and tariff evasion. The second order addresses personnel management in policymaking roles inside the federal government, aiming to make discipline and promotion decisions more effective in positions that shape administrative policy. The White House said that the president signed the executive order strengthening customs enforcement nationwide. The order directs the Secretary of Homeland Security to revise importer eligibility regulations within 180 days, require importers of record to maintain tangible domestic assets or bonding, provide more data to Customs and Border Protection, and prohibit foreign importers of record from filing informal entries. The administration says the goal is to close loopholes, protect lawful trade, promote transparency, and safeguard the domestic economy and American consumers. Now, the broader White House message today was that President Trump is preparing tougher customs rules with wider accountability push in Washington and a law and order push in the American cities. The administration is also highlighting a Department of Justice Models City initiative with $300 million in grants for a small number of cities willing to partner across local government to reduce violent crime, hire police, improve training and body camera use, support victims, and modernize public safety infrastructure. Applications are now open with a first phase deadline of September. And from the Pool Report, the press pool was called into the Oval shortly before 4 p.m. after the White House had kept the event details tightly held during the day. Moments later, the Pool reported that President Trump was speaking from the Resolute desk. The Pool note said that the topic included the reflecting pool, though fuller details were still developing at that moment. Now, also from the Pool reports, the president addressed reporters, discussed Iran negotiations, saying that progress was and that a deal could potentially come by the weekend. He also said he would need to consult legal advisors on the status of the weaponization fund. And the Pool additionally noted that sharp criticism from the president directed at CNN and Caitlin Collins during a tense exchange. In a later Pool report with more of the president's remarks, President Trump said that the weaponization fund had been dropped following a ruling from what he called a radical left judge. On Iran, he said negotiations were continuing and stressed that any more memorandum of understanding meant Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. He also said the United States had carried out strikes on Iran, that Iran had struck Kuwait, that America's support had been crucial to Israel's efforts, and that he had spoken with Hezbollah in an effort to stop hostilities in Lebanon. Now, earlier in the day, according to the Pool Report, correspondents were told that there were no public action came under Oval Office developments. Also from the Pool, there was just a simple routine lunch late. It was called about 1 o'clock. No expected announcements during that period. And according to the daily guidance, President Trump's day did begin with some executive time around 8 a.m., followed by Oval Office policy meetings at 11 and 2 p.m., and the 3 p.m. executive order signing, an additional 4:30 p.m. policy meeting, and a 7 p.m. Rose Garden Club dinner. All events were listed as closed press, and the in-town Pool call time was this morning, 9 a.m. A later Pool note then announced a routine dinner late until 6:30, signaling no further expected public updates before the evening schedule resumed. And one pool transmission circulated additional Iran, Israel, and weaponization fund quotes from the president, reinforcing that foreign policy remained part of the Oval Office question and answer session. Another pool report described remarks at the Oval Office event, referenced comments from Rodney Scott and Peter Navarro about a coming customs order. As with all fast-moving pool notes, those details are best read alongside the official White House materials that we were issued afterwards. But a final pool note said the Oval Office event ended at 4:39 p.m. after the president took several questions, and the press pool was escorted out. So over the past 24 hours, the clearest takeaway is that this administration stayed active on the core priorities President Trump campaigned on: stronger enforcement at the border and ports of entry, more accountability inside the federal bureaucracy, continued pressure abroad, and a renewed emphasis on public safety right here at home. That's the latest on the White House Daily Rundown. Now, let's turn from Pennsylvania Avenue to the other major stories that are driving the day across the country and around the world. We've got a big lineup for you guys tonight, so thank you for joining us on this Between the Headlines live stream. Everybody's filing in. Great to see you here. Now we've got some more information. We're still tracking all of these UFO disclosures. There's a big drop at the National Archives, which was unexpected. So we're going to get to that. We've got more information with respect to the Iran negotiations, that strike on Kuwait that I just mentioned, as well as a major arrest that happened right here domestically. That's really big breaking news right now. Of course, we're also going to be talking about the hearing on Capitol Hill, the committee with Marco Rubio. Trump derangement syndrome on full display in that hearing room, and Marco Rubio wasn't having any of it. We've also got more information on that pathogen that was smuggled into the United States. Arrests have been made. We have the details on that from the FBI. We're going to talk more about the UFC fight that is rapidly approaching and the continued beautification of Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, in the lead up to the 250th birthday of our great republic. Also, you guys may have seen some of this footage. Big questions surrounding what's going on in New York City. Maybe you've seen the strange people climbing out of manholes in the middle of the night. People are really trying to figure out what it is. Are they planting bombs? Are they treasure hunters? Has the FBI been notified? And what is the New York Police Department doing? What is Mayor Mondami doing, if anything? So these are all the topics we'll be running down tonight. So thank you for joining us on this beautiful day, Wednesday, June 3rd. Need to just get out one quick text message here before we continue. Okay. All right, so yes, we are streaming live on all platforms, and we are also we're on Next News on X. We're at Trump Daily Posts on X, YouTube, Rumble, and Kick. We don't normally stream to Kick, but after some conversations with some of my advisors, they're like, you should probably just, what have you got to lose? Throw a stream up there too. So we're pushing out to that platform. But we do need to get into this first story of the evening to break down the latest in the UFO disclosure story. Any super chats? We do have one from Johnny Rodriguez. Thank you, Johnny, for dropping that $5. Much appreciated. Every penny adds up, and we certainly thank you for contributing. All right, let's get into it, Brian, with our first story of the evening. Tonight, the UFO story may have crossed a line that Washington can no longer control. We're not just talking about another blurry video, another wild podcast, or another anonymous leak dumped into the internet machine. We're talking about reported Air Force records appearing on National Archives servers, a public Capitol event, with sworn whistleblower David Grusch and members of Congress, and even a foreign intelligence service reportedly contacting a civilian witness after a major sighting. We've got the video. See, that's not just random noise. It looks like organization. It looks like pressure. The real question now is simple. Are the gatekeepers losing their grip? You see, for years, the establishment treated this subject like a joke until it was politically useful. Then hid behind classification and bureaucracy and the same tired games Americans have come to expect from institutions that never want to admit what they knew and when they knew it. But now the pattern's changing. If 30 Air Force UFO-related records really are sitting inside National Archives systems, including Project Blue Book material, Air Intelligence histories, correspondence files, and a document titled The Estimate of the Situation, then this is bigger than a sighting. This is a window into what officials may have believed behind closed doors. And to that bipartisan coalition of lawmakers, including Tim Burchett and Paulina Luna, Eric Burlison, and Jared Moskowitz standing with Grusch on the Capitol steps next week, this stops being a fringe bit of chatter online. It becomes organized political action. And once official records, sworn testimony, intelligence, attention, and public pressure all converge, institutions that counted on silence start to sweat. And while we're talking about recognizing a trend before the crowd catches up, let me tell you about our friends at Noble Gold Investments. So if you could go back in time, let me ask you this. Before the world relied on oil and buy it, would you? Of course you would. Anyone would. So why aren't you buying silver right now? The people who recognized oil early didn't just make money, they got ahead of one of the biggest economic shifts in history. And today, a similar opportunity is unfolding with silver. You see, silver is more precious. It is more than a precious metal. It's a critical resource used in solar panels, electric vehicles, defense systems, AI infrastructure, and the manufacturing base that powers the future. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy to learn more and take action. Visit nextnewsgold.com right now. And depending on the qualifying purchase, you could receive a 1/10 ounce gold coin. Don't wait for hindsight to tell you what opportunity looked like today. Now back to the story, because what is happening in this disclosure push is really getting harder to dismiss by the day. See, here's the part that should really get your attention. It's no longer just about objects in the sky. The language around the story is getting stranger, broader, and more serious all at once. Members of Congress are now hearing claims involving non-human intelligence, consciousness telepathy, spirituality, transmedium movement, and even possible underwater activity off American shores. Whether every claim holds up or not, the conversation itself has moved. We have entered a phase where the fight is not over whether people are seeing something. The fight is over who has the records, who has the access, and who's been keeping quiet. So it looks like another UFO records drop may be closer than we thought. Skywatch Signal reports here. 30 Air Force records have just appeared on the National Archives servers, including Air Force Regulation 200-2, Project Blue Book material. The 4602 2nd Air Intelligence Service Squadron histories, multiple UFO correspondence files, intelligence summaries, and something intriguingly titled Estimate of the Situation. If the documents are what they appear to be, we may finally be getting a clearer picture of how seriously the Air Force treated the UFO problem behind closed doors. The question now is whether there's anything in these files that they never expected the public to read. So, the Air Force UAP records now added to the National Archives, the history they hoped you'd never see. Just quiet, right? What have we been seeing? They've been doing these massive public dumps on the Department of War. Department of War.gov/aliens or whatever the website is. They've been very public about it. But now all of a sudden these files just show up in the archives. oh, by the way, here they go. Here you go, guys. And then, internet sleuths do what they do. Apparently it was a huge thanks to HM05UAP, who posted all the links to the files for when they actually drop on their Substack. So, UFO Air Force records with UAPs now dropping. So the newly surfaced Air Force files raise the question that Washington hates. What did they know and when did they know it? Now, Congressman Eric Burlison says the story goes way beyond hardware into telepathy, religion, and claims witnesses brought straight into his office. Listen.
Right, and what I've learned is, Clayton, I unfortunately have to preface this with I don't necessarily espouse these beliefs. I'm just going to convey to you what I've been told by other people,
right.
And the common tropes that I hear that really kind of are shocking are the that people are able to, through some form of mental exercise, be able to call in UAP, non-human intelligence. There are events or people that have come to my office, have had active, discussions. In fact, I told one of them, I just called their bluff and said, all right, if you can do it, let's go do it right now. Let's go outside and you can call in a UAP and I'll call. And if it comes down, that'll make national news, right? Sadly, that did not happen. So, but that is probably one of the more shocking things is the number of people that tell me that they're able to use their consciousness to be able to call in some kind of craft. And sometimes these people profess to be Christians, some are not, which is interesting. The whole religious aspect just really keeps coming up in this topic. And so it really almost seems inescapable from spirituality and religion.
I know that's something that friend of the show, Tucker Carlson, he and I have talked about this at length, is the idea of the religious side of this, the angel side of this, and all of that. And I will say that the sort of the telepathy aspect of this story that you've been hearing is repeated countless times by people who've been in the secret space program, who are whistleblowers who've come forward in the secret space program. One of the reasons they've been chosen to be a part of the secret space program is because of that telepathy ability. They're at a higher level of consciousness.
A higher level of consciousness. So he lays out how strange it gets once the people get past the sanitized talking points. Now pressure moves to Capitol Hill, where David Grusch and lawmakers are preparing a public push to force more UAP records out into the open. In a pivotal step towards UAP transparency, a bipartisan group of senior officials and civilians will gather at the U.S. Capitol Tuesday, June 9th at 1 p.m. to demand full disclosure. UAP whistleblower David Grusch, a decorated former intelligence officer who testified under oath before Congress, will reveal specific evidence of UAP and non-human intelligence from classified programs. He will urge review and public release of these records balanced with legitimate national security needs.
David Grusch.
Major David Grusch.
قال ديفيد جروش.
شهادة القائد السابق في جهاز الاستخبارات ديفيد جراش.
Aerial phenomena นะคะก็คือเป็นปรากฏการณ์ที่ทางด้านของเดวิดกรัช
Nereden biri David Grusch'tı.
David Grusch riskerar fängelse om han skulle dömas för.
Congresso sobre OVNI.
David Grusch es un ex oficial de inteligencia mínimo. Este hombre se llama David Grusch.
You can see this is going to be a worldwide event, and the coming Capitol push shows the fight isn't staying buried in a hearing room. One filmmaker says the federal machine and its private sector allies have spent years locking this down and still won't give the whole truth. In a new film, Accidental Truth explores the possibility of non-human intelligence and what comes next. The film director and producer Ron James discussed the evidence and the future of disclosure. Check this out from News Nation.
So you interviewed a variety of newsmakers, from whistleblowers like Lou Elizondo to lawmakers who've long pushed for disclosure. You said that the deeper you went into that world, the more you came to believe that the political process was in many ways a dead end. What do you mean?
Well, I think that this thing's been sequestered by government and private industry for years, and that we are not going to get the entire truth and the knowledge of this from a political process of disclosure.
Meaning it's not from Congress, not from these hearings, not from the government releasing files?
From all of it, not from anything actually coming officially from government through this process or through announcements that come from the White House or anything else. They're never going to tell us the entire truth of everything that they know about this phenomenon.
Why not?
Well, there's just too much accountability, and there's too many things that blend into the power structure on the planet, religious philosophies and teachings, societal norms that it's just too disruptive. And there's too many things that they've done over the past to cover it up that they can't tell us.
Is it also a national security issue? China and Russia might be reverse engineering UFO crash, wreckage.
That's a big part of it. The fact that a lot of this stuff has gone into private industry and resulted in technologies that we're using today and technologies we don't want anyone to know we have is also a big part of the secrecy.
And I would also add the energy aspect to that conversation. Because if there is, in fact, zero-point energy that these crafts are using, what does it do to the big oil companies and the fossil fuel market? So if the official gatekeepers are still hiding the ball, people start looking to raw sightings and witness footage next. This is wild. I had this translated for you guys, and this is really making waves today. A man in Brazil records eerie sounds of flashing disc over a remote ridge and says intelligence officials came calling afterward. Brazilian Mayak Leo films eerie sounds, calm animals, and a flashing disc-shaped object hovering over a remote ridge in Campo Largo, Brazil. Days later, he says ABIN reached out. Raw footage, real fear, one question, what was in the sky? Now, this is about 4 minutes. You can watch the whole thing. It is on our X channel. But we'll give you, I'll skip to the part that you really want to see. But the opening just kind of sets the stage for this guy.
All right, we're just fixing up here, right, guys? He won't go because of the Jaguar.
So this guy's out. Looks like he's making post holes in his backyard. He's got some...
Come on, Billy, let's go. Look.
He's got some wild animals he's concerned with.
Jesus, hear that? I'm gonna head inside and grab something, just to protect myself. The animals are just running loose. Guys, that is not a growl. Like a person choking, like, someone who's choking, like this, like it was just like this, like heavy breathing, really heavy breathing. I don't know how to explain it, guys. I really don't know. Did you guys hear it right there in the audio? I'm not going down there, right? I'm not crazy, but it was like, like a person choking. Oh, guys, Jesus, some things happen here at the house that
Okay, so I'm going to skip to the point. Okay, so this is where it starts to get interesting.
But I think I found the source. Look right above the trees. Hold on, it won't focus. It is way too far. Look. See this? It's flashing a lot, guys. It's over the ridge. Look. See it there? Look over there. It's actually so beautiful, guys. I have no idea what that could be. Are you seeing this right now? Holy crap. Guys, what is that? Guys, I'm scared. Holy shit, what is that? My God. No way.
Okay, so...
What's happening here? Did you see this? I'm going to record it again. Look.
So
it's right.
He goes on and he points out that it's hovering over the river, which is a very important point because what I'm about to reveal. Because the Brazil video here, strange enough on its own, but the story gets even hotter if the paperwork is real. An official-looking ABIN document appears to show Brazil's intelligence agency formally reaching out to the witness. So, new development in the Brazilian UFO sighting. The influencer recorded and posted the videos you just saw. Officially contacted by ABIN, Brazil's intelligence agency. The formal document issued by Agência Brasileira under the presidency of the Republic requests a meeting to discuss the incident, assure the witnesses' rights, and provide guidance on potential contacts with internal intelligence. Marks direct government engagement with the witness of the large disc-shaped object captured on May 31st of this year. So this is the alleged document. I'll bring it up larger for you so you can see it here. The official communication following his posting. So once an intelligence agency enters the picture, it stops looking like internet chatter, starts looking like a cover-up question. Meanwhile, Congressman Tim Burchett taking it a step further. with a claim about possible underwater alien bases off America's coast. So there may be aliens stationed at 5 or 6 underwater bases off the U.S. coast, according to Representative Tim Burchett. So now back to the disclosure fight. David Grusch set to speak on Capitol steps alongside lawmakers demanding those records.
Time next week, UFO whistleblower David Grusch will be joined by a bipartisan group of lawmakers on the steps of the U.S. Capitol for what could be a pivotal step in the push for transparency around UFOs. Grusch plans to discuss specific UFO evidence that he encountered during his time as an intelligence officer and why these records should be publicly released now.
So what does it all really mean? It means the disclosure movement is maturing from rumor culture into an organized campaign aimed directly at the institutions that have controlled this subject for decades. Sightings can be waved away, viral clips can be mocked, but archived Air Force records, sworn whistleblowers, lawmakers on the Capitol steps, and intelligence services engaging witnesses create a chain of pressure that is much harder to bury. And that's why this moment matters. The core issue is no longer do unexplained things exist. The core issue is whether governments and defense-connected power centers have kept material conclusions and evidence compartmentalized from the public. If that wall starts cracking, the story changes forever. So Americans have watched the permanent bureaucracy hide facts, stall oversight, and treat the public like children for far too long. Under President Trump, there is a renewed expectation that government serves the people and not the other way around, and that spirit is exactly why this story is catching fire. If records are coming out, if lawmakers are stepping forward, and if whistleblowers are willing to stand in public again, then the old playbook of ridicule and delay may finally be failing. That does not mean every claim is true. It does mean the pressure for answers is real, it's organized, and it's growing. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to share this report, subscribe to our channel, and drop your take in the comments. Do you believe official institutions know far more about UFOs and non-human intelligence than they have admitted to the public? Yes or no? Let's have a conversation. And let's have you join the thousands of patriots who've already texted the words raw feed to that number on the screen, 844-840-4963. They're already bypassing the algorithm. They're getting the notifications that YouTube decides, well, you don't deserve. I won't fail you. Make sure you text the words raw feed to that number, and let's get you the news that you demand. And since we're celebrating America 250, celebrate with us. Check out the merch shelf below this video. Pick out something you like, because the 4th of July is just around the corner. All right, disclosure day is upon us. Where are we going from here? Okay, so we've covered our Air Force hidden records in the archives. That's bizarre. They just drop the records like no one's paying attention. Wow, they've been so public about the other disclosures. Anyway, let's move on to Iran, because what's going on there is absolutely wild. And what that big arrest today, we need to talk about that too. Okay, Brian, thank you for getting that White House report published for us. And let me just go ahead. I'm going to schedule this one out too so that you can make sure you get it up and ready to go today. We'll get that up at the 8, this last one, we'll get that up at the 8 o'clock hour. Yes, we'll do that. Perfect. Thank you, Brian. And then this one will go up at the 9 o'clock hour as well. Okay, but you're seeing it here first, folks, before it gets published anywhere. You're watching the Next News Network on X, Next News on X. You're watching us on Trump Daily Posts, as well as on YouTube and Rumble. And now we welcome our Kick viewers. Okay, so let's go into this next one, Brian. We need to see what's happening in Iran and let America know. Tonight, the Iran story changed again, and this time the message from President Trump is unmistakable. This is no longer Washington begging for talks, no longer some endless diplomatic treadmill, and no longer the old weak game fantasy where America signals hesitation and our enemies exploit it. The Trump administration is now talking like Iran has already lost the strategic contest, and the only question left is whether Tehran signs on the dotted line or gets crushed by the reality that it created. Add in missiles over Kuwait, drones in the Gulf, and an FBI arrest in California tied to Iran's military machine, and one thing becomes clear. This is now an ultimatum. And I'll tell you why this matters. See, President Trump just laid it out with brutal clarity. America can sign a deal with Iran or do it the other way. And in his words, that path would bring certainty. No delays, no nonsense, and no more games. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth backed that up by saying the president will only accept a great deal for America and for world security because after 47 years of terror, Trump is the one president willing to ensure Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon. And then came the proof that pressure is not theoretical. Iran launched missiles and drones at Kuwait, damaging a civilian airport and killing at least one person. While CENTCOM says that U.S. air defenses knocked down additional waves aimed at American forces. That means negotiations are not replacing pressure. They're happening under pressure. And while the media tries to spin confusion, Secretary Rubio gave away the whole doctrine in one sentence. The United States government is not a charity. And we are not here to play social worker. We are here to win. Before we go any further, if you're serious about protecting your family and strengthening your body in stressful times, this is worth your attention. Now, you've probably seen the clip of Joe Rogan with Mel Gibson talking about people close to them who went through serious health struggles and saw dramatic turnarounds. Rogan brings up light-based therapies, working at the cellular level. Gibson says it plainly, the stuff works. And that got my attention. In my own home, I watched something similar as my wife dealt with constant discomfort and anxiety, and finding practical tools mattered. And that's why I want to point you to Red Light Therapy from Jonathan Otto. If you've been curious, you can check out the interviews that I've done with Jonathan on the topic, or just jump to the end. Go to myredlight.com and see what's available. See, these devices are designed to support recovery, wellness, and daily resilience in a simple, non-invasive way. Use NNN25 for individual items or NNN30 for bundles. That's myredlight.com. Now back to the story, because what happened next inside the Trump administration's messaging tells you exactly where this is all headed. See, the biggest clue is not even the missiles, it's the language. Trump says Iran has no navy, no air force, barely any soldiers, no real leadership, and an economy in collapse with 250% inflation. Anna Kelly added that Iran's enrichment facilities were bombed to smithereens in Operation Midnight Hammer, and its conventional shield was ripped apart in Operation Epic Fury. In other words, the White House is not talking like a side looking for leverage. It's talking like the leverage has already been achieved. And that changes everything as we pull up the receipts. Now here's President Trump. He says, I have to make a determination.
Now I have to make a determination. Do we sign a deal or we do it the other way? And the other way is not nice.
What will the other way achieve, though?
Certainty. It would be over. There wouldn't be any bullshit. There wouldn't be any talking. There wouldn't be any delays. There wouldn't be. But, I'd rather do it the nice way from a humanitarian standpoint.
Can you do it just with bombing? The other way?
Yeah, you don't have to. We don't need boots on the ground now. Well, we did it. We wiped out much of their military with just bombing. We didn't put anybody on the ground. You don't want to do that. You're so far away.
President Trump, he is done with the BS. Made the choice plain. Take the deal or face force. Now his defense chief backs it up, saying the only deal on the table is one that permanently blocks Iran from getting a nuke. Here is the Secretary of War in Singapore.
Like I said, any deal that the president is willing to make, he's only going to make it if he believes it's a great deal for our country and the security of the world. And only one president was willing to lay it out on the line and ensure after 47 years that Iran is not capable of having a nuclear weapon. And so you saw it in how he's been talking about it publicly. Those goalposts haven't shifted at all, which is the expectation of the American people and what we've stated to Iran. So in the middle of negotiations, the closer they come to that reality, both now and into the future, the closer we're going to get to that kind of a deal. And I also, having been in the room with him, I know he means it when he looks in the camera in the cabinet room and said they can either do this now through a deal, and we think we're in a good place to make that deal, or they can deal with the War Department. And we are prepared. We're postured even stronger today than we were on day one to address it that way if we have to, but he'd prefer not to. So Iran knows very, very clearly what our expectations are, and that's on the negotiating team to deliver. They're coming in our direction. The talks have been productive. I think they know where it needs to go, and I'm quite confident with our president who makes nothing but great deals, that ultimately it'll be something he's proud to defend, that ensures that Iran, which everyone knows should not have a nuclear weapon, never does.
Secretary Andrew, one more question.
So, the Pentagon making it clear the goalposts haven't moved. You can either deal with Trump or the Department of War. You choose. Marco Rubio now boiling down the whole doctrine to one simple line.
I also remind everybody the United States government is not a charity. We are not here to play social worker. We are here to win. We are here to win on behalf of the American people and on behalf of the national interest, to win for our country, to win for the people of America, to win for the things that are important for our future, and that's what we exist to do.
So Rubio says the mission is victory, not lectures from the swamp. Next shows the military side of the message with Trump's team warning Iran they can negotiate across the table or answer to American firepower. Here's more from the Secretary of War with the troops.
And when you do your job, the adversaries know what's coming for them. And that's when they either step up and meet the fury of the American military or back down, and you create a whole bunch of options for America and the president with what he wants to execute on behalf of the American people. So right now, hey, Iran has a choice. Meet at the table with the president and give up their nuclear program. And as the president said, I'm lost on time, 2 days ago now, in the cabinet meeting, I'm sitting right next to him. He looks in the camera and says, well, Iran can either do it the right way with a deal across the table, or they can deal with my guy on the left. That happened to be me. But it's not me, it's you guys. It's what you're ready to do. It's what the...
So the White House is talking peace through strength. Meanwhile, back here at home, the feds say one California CEO was allegedly helping the Iranian military with U.S. tech and cashing in big. Orange County Tech CEO's $35 million mansion raided by the FBI as he's arrested for selling U.S. tech to the Iranian military. Jamshid Ghomi, a dual citizen of the U.S. and Iran, was charged with conspiracy to violate the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Accused of selling hardware, computer hardware, to the Iranian military for use in military and nuclear programs. He created elaborate schemes to hide the millions of dollars he's made from these transactions. Wow.
Breaking news right now to get to in Orange County. Stu up in Skyfox. Stu, what's going on?
Hey there, good morning. This is happening out here in the Newport Beach area, and it is very important. This is a federal FBI Department of Justice Joint Task Force taking somebody into custody who was described as a businessman with dual citizenship, Iranian and U.S. Now, this person is actually accused of accused of selling secrets, basically nuclear secrets, to the Iranian government, and he also falsified documents to make that happen. He received a compensation of of over $15 million that apparently helped fund this house that he's living in here, out here in the Newport Beach. Right now, though, that person in custody without any incident. You can see a number of FBI and Department of Justice personnel still down there on scene, basically looking for more evidence for this. And apparently, he's going to be facing a judge later on this afternoon. Very quick indeed. If he's convicted, he could face up to 20 years in prison. Again, this person being taken into custody this morning, apparently selling secrets to the Iranian government. I'm Stu up in Skybox over Newport Beach, sending it back to you all in the studio.
All right, Stu, thank you.
So the arrest shows Iran's network doesn't stop overseas. Next, the White House unloads on Bloomberg for pushing a weak-kneed media spin, while officials say Iran's nuclear sites were hammered and talks are now about finishing the job. Anna Kelly, who works at the White House, was taking Bloomberg to task for saying that the risk that Iran is covertly pursuing nuclear weapons is higher today than before. Well, she said that suggesting that Iran can more capably produce a nuclear weapon with no functioning nuclear enrichment facilities or military defenses is an indescribably stupid take by Bloomberg Business. But that's probably why this, quote, reporter didn't bother to reach out to the White House for comment. The reality is that Iran's nuclear facilities were bombed to smithereens during Operation Midnight Hammer. And then the U.S. military eliminated Iran's conventional shield during Operation Epic Fury. Iran intended to use the shield to protect their nuclear program. Now the United States is currently engaged in negotiations to ensure any future nuclear threat posed by Iran is eliminated for good. So Bloomberg Business being taken to task by the White House comms team. So after this media smackdown, the story gets even more concrete. Fox follows with the DOJ's breaking headline on Jamshid Gomi and the accusation he supplied equipment. So Fox writes, the California tech CEO arrested for allegedly supplying equipment to Iranian nuclear military programs, as according to the DOJ. So the federal case lands as the administration keeps tightening the screws. But over on Capitol Hill, the gloves come off. Scott Bessent today torching Democrat Ron Wyden in a brutal hearing room clash. Yes, he went there today. Listen to this. They're simply calling Bessent an assassin.
Let's be clear here. Nobody is interested in the ramblings of a capo in the most corrupt regime in American history. We want to get some facts about this deal. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I will ask my questions first today.
And we would like to hear what Adam Wyden and Jeffrey Epstein talked about. Your son's largest investment position was Rick's Cabaret. So did your son and Jeffrey Epstein talk about pole dancing as he begged him for money using your limited credibility?
Oh!
I'm going to proceed with my questions, and Mr. Secretary, I'm going to.
Man, when I saw that today, I said, I got to share that with everybody. We want to know about the deal. Well, we want to know about what your son did with Jeffrey Epstein. I was not expecting that today. I wasn't playing defense for a second. Staying in the same hearing fight, Rubio goes toe-to-toe with Gregory Meeks over whether Trump understood the economic risks before striking Iran.
Did you warn President Trump before the war in Iran began that this conflict would drive up costs on gas, food, travel, and shipment?
Yeah, I'll warn you right now, I don't do yes or no answers.
Yeah,
So
well, I only have 5 minutes. I know when you
so
were
do
the
I.
senator, you know
I
about
never
this
did yes or
business,
no answers
and I
to
know
people.
you're trying to go out so that you can run out my 5 minutes. That's a simple
I'm not
question.
run out your 5 minutes. You're running out your 5 minutes.
Did you?
I don't do yes or no question. You want to ask me a question? I'll answer
I'm
your
answering.
question.
You answer my question. It's my time. Did you?
Did I what?
Yes or no? Did you warn President Trump
president
before
was fully-
the Iran war began that this conflict would drive up costs on gas, food, travel, and shipment?
The president,
yes or no?
The president and the full administration was aware that there would be consequences to action. Consequences
Let
of
me
Iran
move
having
on.
a nuclear weapon were worse.
Did you warn him? Did you warn him that launching a war in Iran could result and the regime placing a chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz?
All the risk factors were understood, but the most important risk factor
I just
was
want to know
Iran
if you did
cannot
your
have a
job.
nuclear
Did you
weapon.
warn them?
Iran
If
cannot
you
have
did
a
warn them,
nuclear
say
weapon.
yes. It's simple.
Everyone was aware of what Iran might
Did you
do in
warn him?
retaliation.
I'm asking you a second. Did you
Everyone
warn him?
was aware.
Don't
of
want to
what
answer that. Let
Iran
me ask
would
you the next
do.
question.
But the worst part
Did
is that
you
they
warn
can't
the
have a
president that launching U.S. strikes against Iran would result in retaliatory attacks on U.S. allies, partners, and Americans living or working in the Middle East?
Everyone
Yes
understood
or
what
no?
Iran would do in response.
Did you warn them?
We were prepared for any response that
You
they
warn-
came out with.
Okay.
We knew it.
Just want to make sure.
But they can't have a nuclear
So
weapon.
you're saying you warned them? Did you warn the president that the personal stock purchases and companies profiting from the war that he launched could present a conflict of interest?
I'm not aware of the president's stock purchases. I don't deal with that, and I don't even know what you're saying is true.
Democrats keep trying to corner Rubio with gotcha questions, and the story moves back to the battlefield where Iran's shaky ceasefire starts falling apart with fresh strikes on Kuwait and Bahrain in the U.S. response. Iran's ceasefire collapsing, and now they're paying the price. An already shaky truce took a major hit. Iran launching missiles and drones at Kuwait and Bahrain overnight, heavily damaging Kuwait's international airport. 1 dead, 60 wounded, all flights suspended. This was their, quote, response to actions in the Persian Gulf. Big mistake. Central Command confirming U.S. forces struck back hard, hitting Qasem Island. American air defense has also smoked multiple waves of Iranian drones headed towards our troops. 0 U.S. casualties. Trump is staying cool but firm.
Strain. Overnight, Iran fired fresh strikes at America's Gulf allies, including Kuwait, in response to the U.S. action in the Persian Gulf. The regime strikes heavily damaged Kuwait's international airport. Look at this. They killed 1 person, and now they have suspended all flights. Well, you can understand why if you look at your screen. Central Command says U.S. forces responded to the attack by launching strikes on Qasem Island near the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump, right now, is optimistic.
This is rapidly changing. We've dealt with Iran for 47 years, and they've killed many of our people. And they killed many people all over the world. The state sponsor of terror, #1 in the world. And it's rapidly evolving, and it's evolving good. It's going to be very good. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. Lots of other good things are going to happen.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yinks is in the region. Trey.
Harris, good morning. Overnight, Iran attacked Kuwait and Bahrain with missiles and drones. At least 1 person was killed and more than 60 wounded. You can see here in this video significant damage caused to Kuwait's international airport. CENTCOM released a statement saying that an additional wave of Iranian drones attempting to attack U.S. forces in Kuwait failed to impact intended targets tonight. U.S. Central Command air defenses successfully downed multiple drones and ensured no American personnel or assets were harmed. The Iranian attacks were in response to U.S. strikes that targeted Qasem Island in the Persian Gulf, according to the IRGC.
So after the overnight attacks, Trump makes his case even more bluntly. He says Iran's military is gutted, leadership wiped out, the economy is crashing, and New York Times still pretends they're thriving.
This way, Iran has no navy. They have no air force. They have very few soldiers. They have no leadership. The leadership, the original leadership, is wiped out. And as I said, the second leadership is wiped out. Some of the third leadership is wiped out. Their economy is crashing. They have 250% inflation. They have everything that you can have that's bad, they have. And then if you read the New York Times, you think they're doing fantastically. It's amazing. Now, our country, on the other hand, has the best stock market we've ever had. We have, with the exception of the oil for a short period of time because of the war. Other than that, we have very little inflation. The country is doing fantastically. We're leading the world. We have $18 trillion being invested in the country in just 11 months, whereas the past administration, Sleepy Joe, had less than $1 trillion, and we have $18 trillion, which is a record for any country anywhere in the world. The record was $3 trillion, and we have 18 coming into our country. That's 11 months.
And when will that be felt by people?
It's being felt
in
now.
gas prices?
Well, you see it in construction jobs because factories are being built all over the country, auto plants, it's being built. We have more auto plants under construction now than we had during our prime,
and
in terms of prime automobile.
Trump laying out how weak Tehran really is despite the spin. Now he opens another door saying he may even meet with Iran's new Ayatollah face-to-face if that's what it takes to lock in the result.
So who's making the decisions?
Well, they say he is giving approval because that's the way it has been for a long, long time. His father and then him, I guess it's a succession. But we seem to be getting along quite well.
Would you like to meet him or meet any of the Iranians in person?
I've never thought of it, actually. It's a very good question. I'll think of it. Yeah, I'd like to meet him. I like to meet everybody. I'd like to meet him. We probably will meet at some point, depending on how it all works out.
Wow. Imagine that day. So even after threatening force, Trump is still leaving room for direct diplomacy. Next, he shifts to another pressure point, his call with Netanyahu.
Axios reported that you had a phone call with Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, in which you were angry with him. You said, "Are you effing crazy? What are you effing doing? I helped you stay out of jail." Is that true? Did you speak to him in those terms?
I did. I wouldn't say angry. I was a little bit perturbed at his constantly fighting with Lebanon. You know, at some point I said, "Bibi, we got to stop this. We got to stop it." But I have a very good relationship. We've done well together. He always says, we could never have done it, but everybody knows that we could have never done it without the United States. But I've worked very well together. I like Bibi a lot, and I've worked very well with him. We had I'm a wartime president. He's a wartime prime minister. Very important part of the world. And I think we've done, very well. We've gotten along very well together.
So Trump says he was perturbed, not hostile, but he clearly drew the line with Netanyahu. Bibi answering back, saying the two can clash in the morning and still act together by the afternoon.
So let's talk about the call that you had with him this week, which is getting a lot of attention. The president confirmed that he said, "You're effing crazy." How did you react to that? What really happened in that call?
Well, I'm not going to get into details of our conversations. We've had thousands, a lot of them. And if you think this is a crisis, you should be in some other conversations. But we've always found a way. We have so many agreements. We agree on the main things. We want to get Iran, the nuclear program in Iran, finished. We want to make sure that Iran doesn't pose a threat to Israel, to the Middle East, to America, that it doesn't develop nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, not only to Israel and to every capital in Europe, but to every city in the United States. That's our common goal. That's what we set out to do. And to expand the circle of peace, as the President and I did in the Abraham Accords together. So we have common goals. Sometimes we have, as in the best of families, you have these tactical disagreements. We always find a way to work them out. And we do so as great friends. We can disagree in the morning, and by the afternoon we're common action.
So I was going to say.
So Netanyahu's message is simple: tactical disagreements, same strategic target. Now we get a few words from CENTCOM on action, confirming Iranian drones aimed at U.S. forces. An additional wave of Iranian forces attempting to attack U.S. forces in Kuwait failed to impact intended targets tonight. U.S. Central Command air defenses successfully downed multiple drones and ensured no American personnel or assets were harmed. And they also say American defenses protected our troops, and they also step in again and blow up Tehran's lie. The damage at Kuwait's airport came from a U.S. interceptor. The claim from Iran was that Iran stated it did not attack a passenger terminal at Kuwait International Airport, and damage was instead caused by a U.S. missile interceptor. False. Iran struck the civilian airport with drones in a deliberate, calculated, and unjustified attack. And then we have this. CENTCOM enforcing the blockade, tracking commercial shipping, and choking off Iran's access to the water. A U.S. sailor aboard the USS Rafael Perlata observes the commercial vessel as the ship patrols the Arabian Sea while enforcing the U.S. blockade against Iran. As of June 3rd, CENTCOM forces have redirected 125 commercial vessels and disabled 6 to ensure compliance. So what does this all really mean? It means President Trump has moved the debate away from process and on to outcome. Not endless meetings, not fake progress, not another paper deal the regime can cheat on in secret. The key word now is certainty. A verifiable end to Iran's nuclear threat or decisive action that makes the threat impossible. That's why Hegseth said Iran can either do it the right way across the table or deal with the American military. That's why Rubio refuses to dress this up as some humanitarian management project. That's why even Trump's comments on Netanyahu matter, because despite tactical disagreements, the U.S.-Israel strategic objective remains the same: finish Iran's nuclear program, lock in peace through strength, and leave the regime with one choice: comply or collapse. And then came the diplomatic warning shot that should make every American furious. Federal agents arrested California tech CEO Jamshid Gomi, accusing him of helping funnel U.S. tech into Iranian military and nuclear programs, while allegedly living large in a $35 million mansion. That's exactly why this fight cannot be treated like some distant foreign policy debate. The regime's networks do not stop at the Persian Gulf. They reach into our markets, our tech sector, and our homeland. Under President Trump, that door is finally being slammed shut. The White House is projecting strength abroad, law enforcement is moving at home, and Democrats still look more interested in performative questioning than protecting the country. So here's the bottom line. Iran is being told to sign the deal on America's terms or face what comes next. So my question for you is, do you support President Trump taking a hard line on Iran? Yes or no? Drop your answer below. Share this report, and if you want more America First coverage every day, make sure you subscribe to the Next News Network. But better yet, see those words on the screen and that number? Text the words raw feed to 844-840-4963. That is how I stay connected with you when the algorithm decides otherwise, when the notifications that you rely on from YouTube never arrive. I will not fail you. I will send you a message every single night with the latest information that you need to make informed decisions. And I want you to celebrate America 250 with us. Would you do that? Do you want to? Check out the Next News merch shelf below this video and let's celebrate together. All right. Wow, that was a lot longer than I expected it to be. A lot of news in the Iran story as we get more information on that call with Netanyahu that we've been tracking for days. Getting both sides of the story from Trump and Netanyahu themselves, and of course that attack in Kuwait, and the Department of War saying, hey, you know, either you're going to deal with Trump or you're going to deal with us. So we got more news to get to tonight. We need to talk about, well, what happened in the hearing room on Capitol Hill today. And Kara Castronova, White House correspondent for Lindell TV, as I was doing my research today, I came across this clip, and I'm like, you know, and I text her. I said, Kara, way to go. I said, I can't believe you had that one in the queue to ask Dr. Oz at the briefing this week. And she said, you know, I didn't. It was just a question that just popped into my head. And it really set the stage for the entire event on Capitol Hill today. We're going to show you all the receipts. So I hope you're sitting down. Tonight, the real pandemic in Washington is not Ebola, it's not inflation, not even the latest media hoax. It's Trump derangement syndrome, and the symptoms are getting impossible to ignore. One reporter, Kara Castronova from Lindell TV, tried to turn that into a joke for Dr. Oz, and his answer lit up the room. Treating stupid is really hard. But here's the thing. What happened after that made the joke look less like comedy and more like a diagnosis. Because while President Trump is releasing health results, passing cognitive tests, and driving the America First agenda, Democrats are melting down in public. And the clips that we're about to show you connect in a way the corporate press does not want you to notice. Now, this matters because the Trump administration is making a very specific argument to the American people right now. The opposition is no longer centered on policy results or even basic seriousness. It's centered on hating Donald Trump so much that reality itself becomes optional. I mean, look at the contrast. Secretary Rubio goes before Congress at a critical moment for American foreign policy with major questions involving Iran, China, terrorism, borders, and global security. And what do the Democrats do? Sleep jokes, shoot jokes, shouting, interruptions, storming out. One member unloads and leaves before Rubio can even answer. Another turns the Foreign Affairs Committee into a cable news insult segment. Rubio's response was simple and devastating. Is this a hearing or a circus? See, that question is bigger than a hearing. It goes to whether the anti-Trump movement has become so obsessive, so emotionally broken, that it can't even function as a governing force. And when that happens, Americans pay the price. Now, before we go further, I want you to pay attention, because confusion is how broken systems keep control over your money. Because if you or someone in your family is on Medicare, this directly affects your wallet. Medicare is confusing by design. The mailers, the robocalls, the fine print, the commercials, it's all meant to keep you overwhelmed. So you pick a plan and you never look at it again. That's the Medicare confusion industrial complex. And seniors are paying for it without even realizing it. See, Chapter is simple by design. One call, one advisor. They look at your doctors, your prescriptions, your needs, then help you compare plans clearly. Some people could save as much as $1,100 a year. And that's real money. So do not guess, and do not let the system box you in. Call Chapter at 910-728-4109. That's the number you see right there. And get help from someone actually on your side. Now let's get back to the big story, because the same people who thrive on confusion are doing it in politics as well. See, here's the part that really ties it all together. Well, Democrats are still recycling the same tired health attacks against President Trump. Trump is doing the exact opposite of what weak leaders do. He's putting the information out there. He said his physical results were very, very, very good. He said he took a cognitive test and got 100%. Then Dr. Oz held up the report and called the numbers spectacular, pointing to the president's energy and mental sharpness. So why are Democrats still acting like meme-driven denial is a substitute for evidence? That's where these hearing clips become a lot more revealing than they intended. We'll open with Kara's question. The Blaze posting it. Absolutely awesome.
Question.
Thank you.
Very
Do you
quick.
have any medical advice for the Americans out there that are suffering from a very serious ailment called Trump derangement syndrome?
I am concerned about folks who have focused their entire life energy on dislike of the president. It's disheartening to see people lost in that way, but you know, it's treating stupid is really hard, and that becomes a real problem. And these folks are off. Now, GLP-1s. I mean, yeah.
Treating stupid is really hard. Boiling it down to one brutal line. Now Marco Rubio takes the same fight straight into Congress when Ted Lieu starts pushing the media's sleep narrative on President Trump.
Sleeping right next to you.
No, he's not.
If Donald Trump cannot stay awake at these important meetings where the cameras are rolling, imagine what he's like when the cameras are not there. So I'm going to ask you, have you been at classified meetings where Donald Trump has fallen asleep or had trouble staying awake?
I've never been at any meeting where, and the things you're showing me now, he was not falling asleep. And
So-
I think
so
it's
you're
outrageous
lying
that I'm before
again.
the Foreign
You're
Affairs
lying
Committee of the United States
consistently
House of Representatives
to
asking questions
Congress.
about sleep.
You're
This is
lying
a
to
joke.
Congress, Secretary Rubio. So I'm going to show you another video in a moment.
respond to that other than to tell you that it's absurd and ridiculous. And I can't believe we're in a Foreign Affairs Committee meeting in front of the House at an important time in American foreign policy.
Just keep lying,
answering
Secretary Rubio.
questions
Just keep
from a
lying.
supposedly someone who thinks he's a medical expert when he's not. The truth of the matter is we had a cognitively impaired president in office a few years ago. That's a cognitively impaired president, but I don't like to talk about that because it weakens America. This president we have, this is a guy that literally doesn't sleep. He works day and night, long hours, every single day. I don't know if you haven't seen him in 8 days. I saw him yesterday. I didn't see him today, but yesterday because I was in Congress the day before. I talked to him at all hours of the day and night. He works inhumane hours. Okay, I've been on foreign trips with the president that he doesn't sleep in the whole flight. And everyone else is sleeping on the plane, and he's, wandering the hallways looking for someone to wake up and talk to that people are. So I don't know what you're referring to, but he has an incredible amount of energy. I'm just telling you, you may not like his policies. You may not like his policies, you may not like the decisions he's made, but I assure you, this is not a president that sleeps or is cognitively impaired in any way, shape, or form, and in fact is incredibly active, much more so in many cases than much younger people that are around him. Those are facts. I see it every day. You're not going to agree because you have another narrative that you want to push, but those are the facts.
Those are the facts. Rubio swatting down the cheap shot. Now, speaking of cognitively impaired, Joe Biden hand Democrats another embarrassing clip when he crashes Jill's book talk with a painfully awkward question. Joe Biden enters the chat at exactly the wrong time. Can't make this up. Joe Biden crashes Jill's book talk, steals the spotlight to ask whom she loves the most in an incredibly cringy moment. Listen to what, and Jill, she freaks out. Listen to her response.
Oh, Joe has a question. Like you couldn't ask it later?
Who do you love most in the whole world?
Whoopi.
Wow. I mean, just watching that. Just look at him. Look at how just gone. The guy is just gone. That Biden moment is exactly why the left wants to change the subject. Next, President Trump lays out his own physical results, says he aced the cognitive test with a perfect score.
And your health thing, and you're 14 years younger, cardiac health and cognitive health.
Yeah, they said I'm very healthy.
Yeah.
I do physicals because I think I have an obligation to do it. But I just came out with very, very good results. And I took a test, a cognitive test, and I got 100% on it. As the expression goes, I aced it.
Yeah.
And the doctors told me it's very, very few people can ace that. It's actually a tough test. Once you get past the first half of the questions, those questions get difficult.
Is it a memory? What is it that, have you got a good memory?
I have a great memory. Look, so far so good.
Yeah.
I hope I'm going to keep it that way.
Yeah.
If I don't, you'll be the first to know. You say, this interview, this isn't the same Trump. I think he's lost it.
We saw that all too often with Joe Biden. After Trump says the doctors gave him top marks, Dr. Oz backs it up with the paperwork.
His examinations. He's had 4 already. The president's supposed to have 1 a year.
Yeah, so I actually have talked to the president about what he's sent to all of you. And I think it's just a routine, regular exam. You remember I had the president on my show 10 years ago, and he also presented records. And at the time, I was stunned at how well he was doing, because so many of these numbers naturally over time will start going in the wrong direction. But if you look at these records, they're spectacular. His cholesterol, his blood pressure, all the numbers are starting in excellent parameters. His ability, and listen, I work with him frequently. Many of you get to see him almost every day. That amount of energy and that amount of mental acuity does not exist in a vacuum. You have to have a vessel to carry it, and the president has a unique ability to just keep going at all hours of the day with remarkable strength. Let's go.
Unlike Sleepy Joe. So Dr. Oz praising Trump's stamina. Marco Rubio back on Capitol Hill, dealing with a pure committee chaos. Up next, a Democrat lawmaker yells, storms out, and Rubio fires back in real time. because he destroyed her.
Americans in my
Why is she
community.
leaving? I'm
So
going to answer her questions.
I will.
Oh, she's go. Okay, I got it. Well, thank you for coming.
All right, so we're going to talk about. I just want to.
Unfortunately, Representative's time has expired. Representative Salazar is recognized.
Yes. And giving contracts with no transparency
Can I
is
borrow your
exactly
time
the
to
reason
answer?
why you shut down USAID. So practice what you preach. I yield my
Oh,
time.
she gets to scream now too?
Chairman,
Scream and shout.
down her words? I'll give you some time. I'll give
Yeah.
you some of my time. Then you just.
Okay.
Just
Oh God,
change
what
the
kind of thing
energy.
is this? What is this? You get asked questions for 5 minutes and you don't get time to answer. It's not a hearing.
I think you said clown
Like
show
a dunk
before.
tank.
I
What
don't,
is
I don't
this?
have to tell you. I don't. I'll
I've
give
even
you
used
ti-
their time. How can I answer the question? They don't even give me time. I've had to use their time to answer your questions.
Yes.
All right, whatever.
All right, so I don't need to tell you that in my community, the city that I represent, the city of Miami, you're one of the most illustrious representatives, and that we're very proud of you, not only the Cuban Americans, but the Hispanic Americans in my
Why is she
community.
leaving? I'm
So
going to answer her questions.
I will.
Oh, she's go. Okay, I got it. Well, thank you for coming.
All right, so we're going to talk about. I just want to.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. So the hearing was already turning into a clown show. Rubio wasn't about to let it slide. The next clip, he calls out the House's bizarre rules after a lawmaker asks a question and won't even let him answer. The Department of State posting this today.
Distribution. Well, because one of those were in cahoots with Hamas. And we saw an incredible
Again,
amount of the aid flow into Hamas's hands.
Reclaiming my time, the aid was
Here we
held
go with the
up at
reclaiming
the
our
border
time
by
thing.
Israel, and
You
you
guys got to
know
fix
it.
your rules here. You can't even answer a question.
You're not following the rules. You're very familiar with how this works.
No,
The
I
time
don't. I
is-
never served in the House.
time
This is a weird rule
the
where you
time
ask
is
a question
mine.
and I can't answer.
Would you please add time to the clock?
Nope.
He's
So Rubio exposing how absurd the whole setup is, and now it gets even more ridiculous. Sarah Jacobs starts talking about Trump's shoes, and Rubio asks a question everybody at home is thinking, is this a foreign affairs committee or a circus?
You can't say that the president lost the 2020 election, just like you won't admit President Trump is losing this reckless war of choice, and just like you couldn't admit that the shoes the president bought you were too big. You clearly don't know what winning means, and not because the facts are unclear to you, it's because telling the truth would cost you your job, and the American people are entitled to a Secretary of State who tells them the truth even when the president doesn't want to hear it, and my constituents, our service members, deserve better. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I don't know what shoes she's talking about. What is she talking about?
Representative Burchett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'd like to answer any of that.
Yeah, I don't know about the
I'll
shoes.
give
I mean,
you a
he gave me
minute.
some Florsheim shoes. They're actually pretty good. They fit fine. I don't know what she's talking about. And maybe that's what she's referring to.
Your shoes look very nice today, Mr. Secretary.
How can you see them? They're way down here. We're talking about shoes. Are you guys kidding me? I mean, is this the Foreign Affairs Committee or is this like a circus? What is this?
The people in the background just reacting. It's a circus. It's all a circus. That's what we got today. But what this really means is that Trump derangement syndrome is no longer just a punchline on social media. The Trump administration and its allies are turning it into a political explanation for why Democrats keep failing in full public view. They're saying the obsession's gotten so deep that it now blocks normal judgment. And that's why a serious hearing becomes a tantrum. That's why documented medical results get ignored. And that is why President Trump's stamina is attacked while the country still remembers what happened during the final stretch of the former Biden presidency. And then we have Joe Biden walking into Jill's event, grabs a spotlight, and reminds everyone of the exact issue Democrats spent years trying to wave away. Evidence versus obsession. That's the contrast that's being drawn, and it's pretty brutal. So the bottom line is quite simple. President Trump is governing. Rubio is fighting for America's interest. Dr. Oz is backing up the facts. And Democrats, too many of them are still trapped in the same emotional loop. If Trump says it, oppose it. If Trump proves it, deny it. If Trump wins, scream louder. That's not leadership. That's not policy. And that is not how a serious nation acts in dangerous times. You see, the America First movement is focused on outcomes, security, strength, and truth. The left is still performing outrage for the cameras and hoping nobody notices how empty it looks. But the country notices, you notice, and that's why these clips are spreading like wildfire. If you think the Trump derangement syndrome is now hurting Democrats more than it hurts Trump, share this video, leave your comment below, make sure you subscribe to Next News, and here's my yes or no question for you tonight. Have Democrats become so obsessed with Trump that they can no longer govern like adults? Let's have a conversation, shall we? And let's make sure that you don't miss out. Thousands of patriots have already texted the words raw feed to 844-840-4963. They're bypassing the algorithm. They're getting the notifications that YouTube never sends. Why? Because I'm sending them directly to you. We're cutting out the middleman and we're going direct to the people. So make sure you join the thousands of patriots who are already benefiting from that insider information. And I want you to celebrate America 250 with the Next News Network because it's coming up quick. Check out the merch shelf below this video. Pick out something you like, and let's celebrate together. All right, that was fun. That was fun, man. That was one heck of a hearing, wasn't it? Yeah, you know, I don't have enough minutes in a segment to be able to present to you everything that I find. I really don't. There is so much news that I would love to share with you guys. And I just don't have enough time to put it all together and to organize it, to present it, because it's just every single day. There's so much. We're doing the best we can, trying to keep up with it all. If you're just tuning in, my name is Gary Franchi. I am your chief White House correspondent for the Next News Network. We're streaming live right now on Next News, on X, as well as at Trump Daily Post. If you haven't followed them yet, make sure you do. These guys are on top of their game when it comes to tracking what President Trump is posting on Truth Social. It's an excellent resource for us here at Next News. It will be an excellent resource for you. We're also streaming on YouTube. Don't forget us there. If you are watching on X, pop on over to our YouTube channel. Give us a try there. You may just enjoy it. We try to publish everything on all the platforms, but YouTube is where we got started. I think it was back in, it was 2012 when we launched that channel. Over 2 million followers there, 2.25, I believe, million, and over 2 billion views over the life of the channel, despite rampant suppression, despite Google whistleblowers coming forward with our own channel named in internal documents at Google. Yes. Oh, they do whatever they can to suppress the truth. But it's only because you guys are so loyal to the work that we do that we are able to persevere every single day. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for you. Okay, Brian, we got some more news to get at. If you don't know who Brian is, Brian's my secret weapon in the war on truth. I've been working with Brian for like 20 years. Couldn't do it without Brian. He makes everything possible, just like you guys do. All right, Brian. So we got the Iran story. We got the medical story here. Trump derangement. We're going to drop that, I think. Let's see where we're going to put that at the 9. We'll put that at the 10 o'clock hour. Yes, let's go ahead and put that at the 10 o'clock hour. Yes, 10 p.m. Okay, Brian, you are clear to publish that once it's ready. Just double check your time. Okay, we got to talk about who they just arrested. The FBI making it official with an X post. We got the information for you, as well as some insight in the latest in this next pandemic that they're trying to push on the world. Why does it always connect to Fauci and Bill Gates? Why does it always do that? What is it with these guys? Okay, well, let's find out, shall we? Two stories just slammed right into each other, and every American should be paying very close attention. On one side, an Ebola outbreak in Central Africa is expanding, with hospitals reportedly struggling and officials warning the true numbers may be far higher than advertised. On the other side, federal agents say that two NIH-linked researchers tied to Dr. Fauci tried to bring undeclared pathogen samples into the United States on a commercial flight from the Congo. No, this wasn't like a NIH-sanctioned private jet. This was a commercial flight with pathogens. Just like the movie 12 Monkeys. I mean, where are they getting this stuff? Think about it, okay? At the exact same moment, the public is told the risk is contained. The FBI is announcing criminal charges over that smuggled biological material. So the question is no longer just about disease, it's about trust. And here's why this matters. See, the primary story is not simply Ebola, it's not only the criminal complaint. The real story is that Americans are once again being forced to ask whether the institutions handling dangerous biological materials are being honest, competent, and transparent. According to the FBI and Justice Department, two foreign nationals working at the National Institutes of Health were officially charged after investigators say they lied to Customs and Border Protection at Detroit Metro Airport. Agents allegedly found, ready for this, 113 vials. At least 18 were verified as monkeypox as of this report. Another says additional vials included chickenpox virus and human DNA material. Senator Ron Johnson is already calling for a full investigation into every co-conspirator, and he's right. President Trump has made Homeland Protection a priority in his second term, and this is exactly why strong borders, strong screening, and zero tolerance for elite misconduct matters. Americans were burned badly by public health establishments before. Now the biosafety question is back, and this time people are not blindly accepting the talking points. And when trust in institutions gets shaky, smart Americans start thinking seriously about what they can still control. Now, if you could go back in time and buy oil before the world relied on it, would you? Of course you would. Anyone would. So why aren't you buying silver right now? That's the big question. See, the people who recognized oil early, they didn't just make money. They got ahead of one of the biggest economics in history. And today, a very similar opportunity is unfolding with silver. See, silver is more than a precious metal. It's a critical resource used in solar panels, electric vehicles, defense systems, AI infrastructure, and the massive technologies that's powering the future. That's why I want you to check out Noble Gold Investments. Go to nextnewsgold.com, and you may qualify for a 1/10 ounce gold coin. That's nextnewsgold.com before this window gets a lot smaller. Now back to the story, because the timeline here gets even more troubling. See, the government is trying to send two messages at once. The outbreak overseas is serious, but the homeland remains protected. Fair enough. But that becomes a much harder sell when the FBI says researchers tied to NIH work connected to Dr. Fauci allegedly brought undeclared pathogen material into America from the same region dominating the outbreak headlines. Even if the charges, they center on monkeypox and other biological samples, not Ebola itself, the public connection is immediate. Post-COVID, nobody hears lab pathogen in international transport and shrugs. They ask who approved it, who checked it, and who else knew. So here's what the FBI just posted. A news alert from FBI Detroit. 2 researchers with the National Institute of Health were charged with conspiracy to smuggle monkeypox into the United States and giving false statements to federal law enforcement. National Institute of Health researchers. I believe that's a government agency. And they lied to federal law enforcement. That's what happened. The federal complaint alleges the researchers told Customs and Border Protection their case contained diagnostic and testing equipment. However, an investigation by CBP and FBI agents uncovered 113 files, 18 of which had been verified to contain monkeypox. The investigation was conducted by the FBI Detroit Joint Terrorism Task Force, along with assistance from the FBI Billings Missoula Resident Agency, the U.S. Customs Border Protection Team at Detroit Metro, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. FBI News Alert. So that's the first laying out of the charges. Next, the details get tighter. Prosecutors say these researchers flew in from Congo on commercial passenger jet. News Force reports it was smuggled on a commercial flight from the Congo. Commercial flight. 113 vials, deactivated monkeypox, I guess is what they're calling it, on a commercial flight from Congo, where an outbreak was occurring. Vincent Munster and Claude Cui, both scientists at NIH Rocky Mountain Lab in Montana, allegedly lied to Customs at Detroit Metro January 25th, claiming the large cooler contained only diagnostic equipment. Federal prosecutors say the men broke the law by transporting viral pathogens on a packed passenger plane from an active outbreak zone. What the hell are they thinking? An active outbreak zone. Hey guys, don't worry, don't look in the cooler. It's just diagnostic equipment and some White Claws. Oh, those vials, nothing to worry about. It's not Ebola. It's not the monkeypox, guys. It's deactivated. Oh, but weren't you just on a flight with 250 people flying into this country from a frickin' biohazard country? Each faces up to 5 years in prison if convicted. 5 years. Can we do Fauci now, please? Can we just do Fauci already? So, viral samples from an active outbreak. Now, Nicholas Hulscher connects one of them to the Ebola work and says most of the vials still haven't been fully tested. Good God. Here, I'll just go to the clip.
This is another shocking story. So an NIH virologist, an Ebola expert, he literally goes in the Congo often. He has field sites in the Congo to catch Ebola from wild animals. And so he was caught at a U.S. airport earlier this year with undeclared biological samples, what are called select agents that appear to be, we know for sure, monkeypox, but as well, there could be other pathogens. There could be Ebola because we know he works with Ebola. He was caught at the airport, and this man, Vincent Munster, was linked or actually was actively involved in gain-of-function activities with SARS-CoV-2, with Fauci and colleagues. So you can't even make this up.
Nope, you can't make it up. It's like right out of a sci-fi horror movie. Now, Senator Ron Johnson is demanding that the gain-of-function cabal is coming apart, calling for every co-conspirator to be exposed. Is the gain-of-function cabal finally unraveling? Senator Ron Johnson, congratulations and thank you to everyone involved in detecting the smuggled monkeypox and arresting those responsible. A thorough investigation is necessary to identify all co-conspirators and prosecute them to the full extent of the law. He wants the whole network investigated, but the official line from NIH is very different. Up next, NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya says Americans face minimal risk from the growing Ebola outbreak.
It's bad there. We've taken every step we possibly can to make sure that the risk doesn't come here to the United States.
What is that
for
risk?
the U.S. homeland, there's very minimal risk, and we've worked very hard, including, funneling people to airports that are coming from the region, travel restrictions, and we have a dozen or more, dozens of places now across the country that are specialized places where people can get Ebola treatment if a case does happen to come in. Very little risk in the U.S., sort of big outbreak in DRC.
So that's the reassurance from NIH. Minimal risk to the homeland. Now Peter McCullough weighs in, arguing the real issue in Africa is sanitation, travel controls, not panic here at home.
Are sounding the alarm. So President Trump shuts down travel from Africa, from some of these nations being affected by the Ebola virus. Probably a good idea. But I don't think this is something we need to worry about, and they're already setting us up to scare us. I want to bring in now world-renowned doctor, Chief Scientific Officer at the Wellness Company. My good friend, Dr. Peter McCullough, is here. Doc, it's great to have you back on.
Thank you.
All right, should we be worried about Ebola?
No, we shouldn't, Grant. It's the 40th outbreak in the recent decades in Africa. There right now are 129 confirmed cases that are test positive. It's a blood PCR test positive, and 18 deaths. None of those deaths got any hospital care, no ICU care. They die in the bush. Now, it is something public health authorities in Africa need to work on, but it's not something that is a threat to Americans. Ebola is a virus. It's spread by vomiting and diarrhea, grossly unsanitary conditions, unsanitary burial of corpses. It's just not something that's relevant to Western life and America.
So he says don't fall for the fear campaign. Keep the focus on basic public health. Next, he goes a step further, accusing the World Health Organization and corporate media of using this outbreak to prep the market for another Ebola vaccine.
I had read that 4 weeks before the announcement of the Ebola virus in Africa, that there was actually an approval and the World Health Organization started talking about an Ebola vaccine.
Yeah, it's what the pharmaceutical industry calls market preparation. And because the WHO works hand in glove with vaccine companies, essentially the WHO is doing pre-market, preparation for a vaccine with all these fearful stories. There literally are hundreds, if not thousands, of Ebola pictures. They're typically grim, people wearing hazmat suits out in the jungle. In a study we reviewed on our Focal Point Substack, less than 1% of these Ebola-stricken areas even can wash their hands after they use the bathroom, Grant. So it's really a sanitation problem.
It's really a sanitation problem. So this is the moment the entire narrative changes. The issue is no longer just an African outbreak, and it's no longer just a criminal case at an airport. It's a full-blown credibility test for the public health bureaucracy. NIH officials say that there is very minimal risk to the U.S. homeland. The FBI says 2 researchers are facing charges tied to smuggling and false statements. Those claims can both exist on paper, but in the public mind, they collide instantly. That collision is the real bombshell. Americans now want to know how often dangerous materials are transported, what safeguards actually exist, whether elite researchers believe rules don't apply to them, and whether the Trump administration will clean up a culture of arrogance left behind by the former Biden administration's public health machine. Look, this is why accountability matters. This is why oversight matters. This is why the America First view on borders enforcement and institutional transparency keeps on winning. The Trump administration has every reason to push hard here. Expose every failure, make an example out of everyone who thought a government badge or research title gave them a pass. If the allegations are true, it wasn't a paperwork mix-up. This was a trust breach involving biological material, international travel, and federal deception claims. The American people deserve the full list of facts, the full chain of command, and the full list of anyone involved. So here's my question for you. Do you trust the same public health establishment that got so much wrong before to police itself now? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. Share this report with someone who still thinks the experts always tell the truth. If you want more real reporting with an America First backbone, subscribe, turn on notifications right now. But the real notifications come from me. Bypass the middleman. See that word on the screen, raw feed? Text those words. You might want to put a space in between it. I don't know how it works, but it's the number on the screen, 844-840-4963. That's how we get you the notifications that you demand. Not when YouTube or any other social platform determines that you're not good enough for it. Or our information is just too spicy. We're going to give you the truth, and that's how you get it. And I want you to celebrate America 250 with me, personally. Hit the merch shelf below this video, find something you like, and support our work at the Next News Network. Whew! How you like them apples? On a frickin' commercial plane. A commercial jet. Can you believe that? That's what they did. Unbelievable. Okay, moving right along. I'm just checking on the... Oh, my code has expired. Resend it. Okay, how about that? Okay, I'll try that code then. All right. I got 16 seconds to enter the code, guys. Seven seconds. Just did it in time. All right, don't you hate those? You get those. You must text this, type in this PIN number that we just sent you, and you've got 12 seconds to comply. It's like Ed 209, right? Okay. We got more news to get to. So I'm looking at here. Okay, so I just want to see where our SMS systems are rolling along here. What okay, okay, all right. I won't look at all the analytics right now. I won't get into that. I know you guys want the news. That's what we're here for. Okay. Oh, Super Chat. What's up, Salty Nationalist? Dropping a 10 spot. What's up? Oh, and so did Chris. What's up, Chris? Dropping $10 there. Salty Nationalist saying some love. What's up? What's up? Good to see you guys. Thank you for your support. Okay, where are we going from there? Where are we going now? Ah, yes, the UFC fight. Yes. I love it. And then after we get there... Oh, and Salty just dropped, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. After that, we're going to investigate what's going on in New York in those sewers. And I know you want to get to the bottom of that. So do I. All right, we're going to get to that in just a moment. But first, let's find out the latest from UFC 250 America. What if that UFC ring that's going up at the White House is not just about a fight night? What about a full-scale American comeback? While the media fixates on spectacle, the Trump administration is doing something much bigger right in front of the country. Restoring fountains, cleaning monuments, reviving public spaces, upgrading landmarks, and turning Washington into a living proof of concept for national renewal. This is not random. This is not cosmetic. This is a message. President Trump appears to be saying that decline was chosen, neglect was tolerated, and now restoration is being demanded. And once you see the pattern, you just can't unsee it. I'll tell you why this matters. Because for years, Americans were told to just simply accept disorder as normal, decay is inevitable and ugly, unsafe cities as the unavoidable cost of modern life. During the previous administration, the public was expected to lower its standards, while the ruling class lectured everybody else about what could not be fixed. President Trump is smashing that lie. And look what's happening in the nation's capital. Lafayette Park, fountains are running again. Historic statues cleaned, graffiti removed. Union Station, Columbus Circle restored. The reflecting pool nearing completion. And now a massive UFC Freedom 250 event positioned right on the White House grounds as America approaches its 250th birthday. The point is bigger than sports. The point is confidence. The Trump administration is making Washington say something again, that America should look strong, should feel safe. It should inspire pride. And with the new Model Cities initiative, they're signaling that what's happening in D.C. is not the exception, it's the template. And speaking of restoration, sometimes the comeback story starts at home, with your own health and with your own family. You've probably seen the clip, Joe Rogan sitting with Mel Gibson talking about people close to him who went through serious health struggles and then saw dramatic turnarounds. Rogan brings up light-based therapies and how they impact the body at a cellular level. Gibson says it straight to stuff works. That got my attention because in my own life I watched something very similar unfold. For a very long time, my wife was dealing with constant discomfort and anxiety. One of those situations where you just want real relief, and that's why I want you to check out Red Light Therapy from Jonathan Otto like we did at myredlight.com. If you've been curious, now is the time. I've got countless interviews with Jonathan. It will blow your mind. You just check out the channel. You'll see them. But you got to use, when you go to the site, use NNN25 for individual items or NNN30 for bundles. Go to myredlight.com and see what's possible for your health. Now back to the story, because what Trump is rebuilding in Washington is really about restoring confidence across the whole country. See, here's the angle the legacy press still doesn't want to admit. The UFC octagon is becoming a symbol. Trump even joked that maybe they should never take it down, comparing it to the Eiffel Tower. You see, it's funny on the surface, but politically it's revealing. This White House understands imagery, energy, and national branding better than its critics do. A clean Capitol, restored fountains, patriotic crowds, giant screens, Flag Day weekend, America 250 branding. This is not an isolated event. It is a declaration that America is done apologizing for being strong, vibrant, and unapologetically proud. President Trump posting saying he might leave up the UFC ring at the White House, comparing it to the Eiffel Tower.
Know that in Paris, France, the Eiffel Tower, 1889 it was built. It was supposed to be taken down immediately after the World's Fair. And then they said, you know, we sort of like it. Let's leave it up a little bit longer. And then they said, let's leave it up longer and longer and longer. Well, they never took it down. And, you know, we're building something in front of the White House that's quite attractive to a lot of people. It's going to have the big UFC fight on June 14th. And I'm looking at it, and maybe we'll never, ever take it down.
Oh, man. President Trump knows how to troll, doesn't he? Up next, the official poster says it flat out, America needs a champion. Less than 2 weeks. Freedom 250 at the White House. Sunday, June 14th. The countdown is on. America needs a champion. That is going to be a fight for the ages. So the Trump UFC pushes pure Trump strength and pride. And while the media sneer, the Interior Department says the cleanup's already happening in the Capitol. Fountains restored, graffiti gone, statues cleaned. 22 fountains restored. This is the Department of Interior. Graffiti removed, statues cleaned. Thank you, POTUS. We're making our nation's capital safe, beautiful, and worthy of the greatest nation on earth. So it's not just a fight night, it's a visible cleanup campaign. Next, the Justice Department rolls out a $300 million Model Cities initiative to back the blue and crack down on violent crime. Today, we're excited to announce the Model Cities Initiative, which is the next step in this administration's mission to restore law and order, back the blue, and make America safe again. Here is Acting AG Todd Blanche.
President Trump promised the American people that this administration will restore law and order, back the blue, and make America safe again. We have already seen incredible success in Washington, D.C. and Memphis, Tennessee, and now the Department of Justice is excited to announce the next step in that commitment, the Model Cities Initiative. Through the One Big Beautiful Bill, the DOJ will be surging $300 million in grant funds to support cities who are serious about reducing violent crime, restoring public order, and modernizing their public safety infrastructure. This money will be awarded to 2 to 4 cities with a population of 100,000 or more who hope to make their cities safer and more secure. The strongest applications will not come from one office or one representative acting alone. They will come from jurisdictions that offer true partnership, where the mayor, the prosecutors, the sheriff, police leadership, and other key officials are aligned behind one public safety plan. We want to see a whole of government approach and commitment, one application, one strategy, and a clear explanation of how these dollars will be used to improve law and order. President Trump, this Department of Justice, and this initiative is focused on results. Apply now at www.justice.gov/grants.
Well, that should get some people unified, lined up. Submissions due September 1st. DOJ says cities are serious about law and order can get federal muscle. Now you'll hear Trump himself make the case, touting crime drops and laying out how the money is supposed to put more cops on the street.
From the very first day I took office, our administration has waged the most successful war on crime in American history. Last year, the murder rate saw the single largest decline ever recorded, falling to the lowest level in 125 years. We've reduced the fentanyl coming across our border by 60%, from Washington to Memphis to New Orleans to our southern border. We are restoring law and order to America. Now we're taking our next big step to defend public safety in America. At my direction, the Department of Justice is beginning what we're calling the Model Cities Initiative to slash violent crime in major metropolitan areas all across our country. In selected cities, the Department of Justice will provide $300 million in grants to hire police officers, modernize equipment, provide training, and improve law enforcement. This historic funding will go to confronting substance abuse, preventing youth crime, and combating repeat offenders. In short, we're committed to making historic investments in improving the quality of life of city residents nationwide. For the next 90 days, any city or local government representing a population of more than 100,000 people can apply to take part in this exciting new program. It's amazing. Tell your local representatives to apply now by going to www.justice.gov/grants. With your help, we will put more police on our streets, and we will put dangerous criminals behind bars where they belong, and we want to keep them there. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good time. You're amazing people.
Thank you, President Trump, for that message from the White House. It's simple: fund police, lock up criminals, stop coddling repeat offenders. And while that policy push rolls on, crews are rebuilding the nation's front yard. The reflecting pool getting its new finish. Workers have covered the reflecting pool from one end to the other with a new blue sealant and are now working on some of the edge trim. So there's some of the action underway. It's part of the broader makeover. Viewers are watching in real time. Up next, another piece of the Capitol comes back to life as the fountains in Lafayette Park start running again. How beautiful. As I've walked through that park so many times, and I've seen those fountains in just a state of disrepair, and it brings a tear to my eye just to see those beautiful fountains running. Truly, I've walked through that park so many times on the way to the White House, and I've seen just filth. And President Trump, like, cleaning it up. It's just beautiful. So from the reflecting pool to Lafayette Park, the message is clear: clean it up, fix it, make it worthy again. Crews are hard at work here. Some more visuals from the UFC. The UFC set up at the White House grounds It's going to be an amazing fight. And I will have people on the inside and should be able to get some exclusive visuals for you, as I've explained to you that they're being real tight on press. They're even closing the briefing room for this event, which is actually unprecedented. We will not even be allowed on White House grounds. They're moving the entire press corps, except the White House pool, to the ellipse, which is across the street. I talked to some White House folks, fellow correspondents there, and I said, what are you guys going to do? Like, what's your plan? I'm like, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go and sit there and be, herded up like cattle a half a mile away. I mean, a lot of reporters I know aren't even going to be going to the ellipse. So that was my immediate reaction. I knew it was going to be that. I didn't realize it was going to close the briefing room, but that's what it is. And then we have this. Meanwhile, another fight is breaking out in court where Trump's allies are raising serious questions about the judge in the Kennedy Center case. You hear about this? The judge who ordered Trump's name stripped from the Kennedy Center married his wife in a ceremony officiated by Merrick Garland. That wife, Amy Jeffries, represented Lisa Page during the FBI texting scandal, helped the January 6th committee, and now serves as Joe Biden's personal attorney. Her former law firm represented E. Jean Carroll against Trump. Trump says Judge Christopher Cooper has a total conflict of interest and asserts he can't be treated fairly in Cooper's court. So the Kennedy Center fight is exactly why so many Americans don't trust the system. Same insider circle, same anti-Trump crowd. Meanwhile, back in Washington, the makeover keeps moving. Union Station, Columbus Circle getting long overdue renovations. Here's Elena Austin and her take on what's going on there.
I am at Union Station here to report on the public's feedback to the fountain. It has not been running since 2007, and so now tourists and members of the public, locals as well, are admiring the beauty of this revamped project. Now, we know the Trump administration has been doing the Make DC Safe and Make DC Beautiful again. So I have overall heard very positive reviews to seeing this fountain back up and running. And there's also a 15-foot tall statue of Christopher Columbus, the Columbus Circle of Union Station. Now, the Trump administration, they had said through the Department of Interior, through the Department of Transportation, that they wanted to make sure the focal point that when you arrive in D.C. via train, you arrive by bus, that it looks more sightly. This area had been overtaken with homeless encampments, the tents, all types of odors that were not very pleasant. Used to be the first thing that hit you when you came into DC. I actually used to live right by Union Station here. Some people think the money could be spent better on other priorities, but overall we're seeing the reflecting pool. That's supposed to be done within the next couple of weeks. It'll go from being gray to what they're calling American flag blue. So it's going to be a more vivid, deeper color. And all of this, of course, coinciding with the America 250 events and the 250th anniversary of the U.S. founding and government system. So overall, I'm hearing from people who they're excited to come out here, walk their dogs, and just enjoy that architectural beauty that you see here. Again, there are some people that are not in favor of these projects and they think that the money needs to go to other issues. But overall, it's a very huge transformation to this area. It looks completely different now.
Completely different. Trump giving D.C. the makeover it deserves. Same pattern across the city. Restore what was neglected and take back spaces the swamp let rot. Next up, a supporter shows the finished look and celebrates how beautiful the city of We the People is starting to look again. Here's another shot. Look at this. Beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. Fountain flowing again in Washington, D.C. Making Washington, D.C. beautiful again. And now President Trump from the Oval Office today says one of the biggest projects is crossing the finish line now from inside the Oval, gives an update on the reflecting pool, explains just how bad it had gotten.
It was bad, and it looked terrible. It was supposed to be beautiful. It was opened in 1922, and it always leaked. There was a problem. It's called the Great Reflecting Pool between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. And right in between is almost 2,500 feet long. I could show you, it would be like the tallest building in the world laid on its side.
So, what does it all mean? It means that the Trump administration is unifying beauty, order, safety, and patriotism into one governing message. The restored fountains are not just fountains. The reflecting pool is not just a construction project. The Union Station cleanup is not just cosmetic, and the DOJ's $300 million Model Cities initiative is not just another grant program. Together they form one argument. Safe cities and proud public spaces reinforce each other. When government stops tolerating blight, excuses, and the anti-police madness, citizens begin to believe their country can function again. That's why UFC Freedom 250 matters. It's the centerpiece of a broader America First vision, one where the Capitol becomes a visible demonstration that national decline is reversible, and President Trump intends to prove it. And maybe that is what has the establishment so rattled. Because if Trump can turn Washington, D.C. into a showcase of order, beauty, and celebration and law and order confidence, then the entire excuse system of the left starts collapsing. They told you that rot was permanent. They told you disorder was complicated. They told you Americans just had to live with less. President Trump is showing the opposite. Clean it up, fix it, secure it, celebrate it, and let the country see the difference. Even the fight over that Kennedy Center ruling shows the same old network of anti-Trump insiders still trying to block him. But the bigger picture is already visible. This White House is building towards America's 250th birthday as a national comeback story. If you think America's capital should be clean and safe and beautiful and unapologetically patriotic again, then share this report and subscribe to Next News. Drop your answer below. Yes or no, should UFC Freedom 250 become the symbol of America's comeback? I want to hear from you. Let's have a conversation. And let's have a conversation over here. See that number on your screen? See those words? Text raw feed to 844-840-4963. That's how we continue the conversation when the notifications never arrive from YouTube, when the algorithm decides to bury us under countless videos from CNN and MSNBC because they've flipped the algorithm. We stay connected regardless. We're just going to bypass the middleman. It's going to be me and you. I'll send you the messages that matter. One message, Monday through Friday, 8:45 Central, every night. You'll get the updates that you need. And since we're talking about the Freedom 250 celebration, celebrate with us. We've got some new gear down on the merch shelf below at the link. Check it out, find something you like, and celebrate America 250 with us. Okay, America 250. Gotta love it, man. You really, it's just so beautiful. But now we have to go into the sick underbelly of New York City. What's the FBI doing? What is the mayor of New York doing? What's NYPD saying about these strange appearances of individuals emerging from the sewer systems in the middle of the night? We've got some shocking video that just boggles the mind, and it's raising a lot of questions. People are very, very concerned. Tom and Bella, was that new? Another one? Thank you. So much winning. Right there, Tom and Bella. We got quite a few super chats this evening. We thank you guys for that. Sincerely. Okay, Brian, let's knock this one out, shall we? What would you think if you were driving through Brooklyn at 2 in the morning and saw a line of men in headlamps, coveralls, and waders climbing out of a manhole with shovels in their hands? Because that's exactly what security cameras appear to show in multiple New York incidents now under investigation. Police say there is no known threat to the public. No known threat. Fine. But that answer has not calmed anyone down, and the reason why matters even more than the footage itself. See, this is no longer just a weird sewer story, it's a trust story. And Americans know that something feels off. Now let's be clear, nobody should jump straight to panic. Nobody should ignore common sense either. The facts we have are strange enough on their own. Multiple groups of men in more than one location reportedly opening manholes in Brooklyn and Queens in the dead of night, went underground for long stretches, then came back up carrying gear and in some cases changing clothes before disappearing into the city. Authorities say they found no damage, no tampering, no immediate public threat. That's important, but here's the real issue. Millions of Americans no longer hear official reassurance and instantly relax. No. After years of urban disorder, weak leadership in Democrat-run cities, border chaos under the former Biden administration, and nonstop warnings about infrastructure vulnerability, the public has been conditioned to ask the hard question first. Not, is this harmless, but what if it isn't? And that's why the story has exploded. Not because people are irrational, but because trust has been burned so many times that unexplained activity now sets off every alarm in the American mind. Before we go further, if you're looking for ways to stay sharp and energized in a world that never slows down, I need you to listen to this. Now, see, I've tried hundreds of supplements over the years, and nothing has delivered results like C60 Evo. This Nobel Prize winning molecule made lab animals live 90% longer. So to all my haters out there, I've got bad news. I'm going to be around for 90% longer because I take 2 tablespoons a day. See, my brain fog's gone. Joint pain I've had for years virtually eliminated. My wife's skin looks 10 years younger. My energy feels like I'm 20 years younger. This molecule is 172 times more powerful than vitamin C. It's worth more than gold per ounce. Now, Chris Beery is the scientist behind this. He's been making this in his Houston lab since 1991. See, it's not just another antioxidant. It works at the cellular level. That's where aging actually happens. The Paris study, it showed the longest life extension in history, and now my family is living proof that it works. Visit c60evo.com/NNN and use code NNN for exclusive savings. Whether you want more energy, clearer thinking, better skin, sleep better, just to feel young again, this is your answer. c60evo.com/NNN. Use code NNN at checkout because 90% longer life starts with one decision. Don't wait. Transform your health today. Now, with that said, let's get back to why this bizarre New York episode hit such a nerve with the public. See, here's the twist. The media won't tell you. See, the most revealing part of the story is not underground. It's above ground. And the public reaction. The videos hit every psychological trigger at once. Midnight, masks, tools, tunnels, groups moving with purpose, and hours out of sight beneath one of America's biggest cities. Add in major international events approaching, and suddenly a local oddity becomes a national security conversation. See, that's where this gets very real, very fast, and very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable for the people who's running these cities. So who are the men emerging from New York sewers at 2 a.m.? Videos showing random groups of men climbing in and out of New York City manholes in the middle of the night have gone viral, and of course the internet has filled in the blanks. Skywatch Signal writes that NYPD says there is no threat to the public, believes the individuals may have been searching the sewer system for valuables. After the video surfaces, emergency service unit officers reportedly entered the tunnels and found nothing suspicious. The city's Department of Environmental Protection also found no damage. Maybe that's why the whole story, you've got to admit, is still a strange sight. Here's some of the video and some of the latest news coverage.
A mystery in Brooklyn. Why are people climbing out of this manhole? And what are they doing in the New York City sewer system? 1, 2, 3, 7 altogether can be seen coming out at this busy intersection in the very early morning hours on Friday. Some with shovels in their hands and flashlights. One nearly gets hit by a car.
We need to know who they were, what they were up to.
And it was a similar scene in another neighborhood of Brooklyn on Thursday. According to police, a car dropped the group off at 11 p.m. About 3 hours later, they climbed back out. During Friday's incident, police say the crew picked up this manhole cover and went down at 1 a.m. They believe they were looking for valuables that people flushed down the drain. It's a dirty business, and it's also a crime. Underneath New York City, a sprawling underground network of more than 7,500 miles of sewer lines. The Department of Environmental Protection warning it can be extremely dangerous between toxic chemicals and flooding risks. But there were no injuries during these incidents, according to the NYPD. Why is it a crime to go into a manhole?
It's dangerous. It's the same as jaywalking or walking down the middle of a highway.
So if they choose the wrong one, they could end up in real trouble.
They could be electrocuted. They could be overcome. There's gas lines down there. There's electrical lines down there.
Investigators telling NBC News they looked into similar incidents in the last 2 years, and in those cases, people were scavenging for valuables. Tonight, officials warning whatever is hiding in the city's sewers simply isn't worth the risk.
Well, but that's only the beginning. The official line is probably scavengers, nothing suspicious, but the next report shows why New Yorkers aren't buying it. More surveillance video, more gear, still no straight answers. Even Fox News covering it, mole people, treasure hunters, something else. Police are investigating a string of bizarre incidents involving mysterious groups of people entering and exiting New York City sewers through manholes in the dead of night. Here's some more footage. And the cars just drive by. Police say no known threat to the public, but the mystery has sparked citywide investigation. Fox is raising the same question everyone else is asking, treasure hunters or something else. This online reaction gets a lot more blunt. Hopefully they weren't putting bombs down there under the city. For sure, they were up to no good. So the public suspicion is exactly why the story is not going away. Next, another report lays out the gear, the late night timing, the question City Hall still can't answer.
Here in New York City tonight, we're learning more about those mystery sightings. Men emerging from manholes in Brooklyn and in Queens with headlamps and shovels. And tonight, hear the new warning. Here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky now.
Tonight, a mystery underground. New York City police are working to identify the men in this video, wearing waders and carrying flashlights, prying open a manhole in Queens and slipping into the sewer. They're also trying to identify 7 men, some with headlamps and shovels, going into the sewer in Brooklyn and then emerging one by one. One guy almost gets hit by a car. Tonight, police suspect these groups were hunting for valuables. This happens from time to time, but there are a lot of hazards down there. Unstable surfaces, confined spaces, noxious gases. Police in the Department of Environmental Protection inspected the sewer system and said they found nothing tampered with, insisting our infrastructure is safe. Police believe these urban scavengers pose no threat, but David, officials say entering the sewer system is both illegal and extremely dangerous. David?
Dangerous, and those images are a bit unsettling. Aaron, thank you.
So it's getting widespread coverage right now. ABC says officials insist it's safe, and infrastructure is safe, but images are still hard to ignore. Even AP covering the story.
Wait. Is that the Mario Brothers?
A series of bizarre sightings of people popping in and out of New York City's sewer system has police investigating. Security cameras captured at least 3 separate instances in Brooklyn and Queens, showing groups climbing into and out of manholes in the middle of the night. Some were spotted wearing headlamps and what looked like shovels and other tools. Authorities inspected the locations and say there's no damage to the sewer system, and police say they don't believe there's any threat to public safety, no injuries have been reported, and no arrests have been made. But officials are warning people not to try this. Entering the sewer system is illegal and extremely dangerous because of hazards like toxic gases and flooding. As for who these mystery sewer people are, the investigation is still ongoing, but we are having a debate in our office about whether or not they look like the Mario Brothers or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
So the Associated Press having a little bit of fun with that. Not sure that they should, but AP playing it with the cute Mario Brothers jokes, but Americans watching are not laughing. Matt Wallace connects these sewer sightings to a bigger security failure with major crowds about to pour into the region. With the World Cup only days away, there have been repeated sightings of suspicious people coming out of manholes in New York City. The majority of attendees will be staying there. They are clearly planning something. Why isn't this being investigated fully? Do New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani and Mayor Michael Gonnelli actually have a real plan for the millions of visitors coming to the region? Why? This is why having incompetent idiots in charge of major cities is such a dangerous problem. So while the media shrugs and the political class sleeps, independent voices are zeroing in on the same problem. Repeated sightings, no accountability. Up next, exclusive footage out of Brooklyn shows a group going back into the same manhole, hauling equipment back out. Here's more footage from Viral News NYC. Not a care in the world. Pickaxe. So that wasn't just a one-off, dropping into a tunnel according to that source. They kept returning, pulling gear from below. Next goes further, pointing to nearby cash businesses and a bank. And that's where this looked like less exploring and more like a burglary setup. Viral News NYC. The Brooklyn manhole mystery deepens. Were these underground explorers or a burglary crew? I went back to the area today, started taking a closer look at what surrounds the location. One thing immediately stood out. Numerous cash-heavy businesses nearby along with a bank. The more I dig into the story, the more questions I have. Sources and videos show that these individuals were underground for nearly 2 hours. They didn't appear to be random people fooling around. They came equipped with shovels, masks, specialized gear to keep themselves dry while navigating below ground. For those unfamiliar with New York City's underground infrastructure, some tunnel systems can stretch for miles and connect across boroughs. That raises an obvious question. What exactly were they doing down there for that long? At this point, nothing has been officially confirmed, but the deeper I look into this incident, the more it resembles a crew. They may have been preparing for something far more serious than a late-night adventure. 2 hours underground, masks, tools, and planning. Something about this entire situation does not feel right.
Back here at the manhole tunnel in Brooklyn, New York. Now, I did a little more research, and you got cash businesses all over here, right? You got a car wash right there. You got, this place is mostly cash. You got other locations like this recycling center where there's a lot of cash here. Other places here that has a lot of cash. You got a bank that's down the block. Now these manhole tunnels, right, they literally reach throughout the city. You can literally take one tunnel from here, which is Brooklyn, all the way to Manhattan, right? So I'm thinking these guys came here to rob a place, and they came here with the tools, because they all have tools on them, and they were looking to rob something. That's my personal opinion. A lot of them also came prepared, masks, right? Some of them had masks on, some of them didn't. Some of them had those like fishing trunks, you know, like so your feet won't get wet, the plastic ones. So it's weird, super weird. And I'm speaking to more residents around here, and they're confused as well. So I personally think these guys came here to burglarize someplace. They brought their tools. They stayed down there for 2 hours, right? 2 hours they can walk from here to the city. So the location they might have wanted to burglarize, we probably won't know, because we don't know how far they walked. And I'm not sure if there's any security cameras down there, which most likely it should be. So, look, I'm back here, and I'm going to keep digging into this. Look, the men that were caught on video were either Hispanic or Middle Eastern. So it might have been a crew. Who knows? A burglary crew. I'm going to keep checking in on this. God bless you. Have a good weekend.
Wow. So, burglary theory laid out in detail. 2 hours underground. Here's more exclusive video on McDonald Avenue and Avenue S in Brooklyn. 10 unknown individuals open up a manhole. That's a lot of people. I thought maybe just like some YouTubers going underneath to do some exploring or something, get some content, but this is happening at a rate and at different locations that just doesn't add up. So, and the claim about the car cover where it gets even darker, a social media post takes it up 3 separate incursions, warns it could be more than scavenging, maybe a heist or something worse. Tyler Durden, Zero Hedge. That is now 3 separate manhole incursions by teams of 5 to 10 people with tools, many with shovels, and will look like a sifter screen box with one guy probably planning a major heist or terror attack under New York City. Soon, if FBI Director Cash doesn't thwart it. So, what does this really mean? It means America is living in a low-trust era, and citizens are responding exactly the way serious people respond when institutions have failed too often. Police may be right. This was sewer scavenging, underground exploration, or some other non-terror activity. If so, good. We should be thankful. But the speed with which ordinary Americans jump to fears of sabotage, sleeper cells, heists, or infrastructure targeting tells you everything about the current mood. People don't believe blue city officials are fully in control. They don't believe every strange event gets transparent answers, and they absolutely do not believe that weird behavior on tunnels, utilities, and transit should be shrugged off. In other words, the sewer mystery is really a confidence crisis, all caught on camera. And that's the takeaway tonight. The story may end with a simple explanation. Maybe these men were digging for discarded valuables. Maybe it was just illegal, reckless, and bizarre. But the public response is the bigger headline. Americans are watching the streets, the tunnels, the infrastructure, and the people in charge with a level of suspicion that did not come out of nowhere. It came from years of being told not to believe their own eyes, years of failed leadership in major cities, and years of seeing danger minimized until it's impossible to hide. Under President Trump, Americans are right to demand order, transparency, and serious answers instead of lazy reassurance. So now we want to hear, would you trust the official explanation right away, yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments, share this report, and subscribe to the Next News Network for more America First coverage. But most importantly, text those words raw feed to the number you see on your screen, 844-8 840-4963. We're cutting out the middleman, going direct, right to you, right to your phone. We're not waiting for YouTube to send you a notification. We're not waiting for the algorithm to decide when to show you videos. We're sending you the news when you need it. This is how we stay connected. This is how we get the truth directly to you. Thousands of patriots have already signed up. I want you next. And celebrate America 250. Let's do it together. Check out the merch shelf below this video and check out something you like and celebrate America 250 with the Next News Network. All right, folks, that is a wrap. What a show we've had tonight. Thank you for joining us. We started with the latest out of the White House with our White House report. And then we jumped into the Hidden Air Force records leaked at the archives about UFOs. Iran, the latest on the Iran deal, the attack in Kuwait, the TDS meltdowns in the halls of Congress today, the Ebola smuggling and the people getting arrested, America's greatest comeback happening now in D.C. and this bizarre sewer story. All of these things, they all connect to one larger picture. We're here. We're not going away. We're going to keep delivering you the news that you need every single day. And this weekend, I've got a really special interview that's about to drop. It's going to drop on Sunday morning with a man named Jason Jones with some breaking news that happened in Israel that will blow your mind. And we're going to talk about some of these stories that really deserve more coverage. Stories the mainstream media will never, ever tell you about what really happens in these war zones, whether if it's Afghanistan or Iran, Pakistan, Israel. These stories of lives affected. And what Jason Jones and his organization, the Vulnerable People Project, is doing to help humanity. Absolutely riveting interview. So keep your eyes open for that this weekend. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. We'll be streaming on X at our Next News platform, at Trump Daily Posts on YouTube, on Rumble, and on Kick. So join us at any of those platforms, and we'll see you then.